Wow, this is noisy. And now it's gone. Hey, I'm Yoad. Welcome to my studio. I don't like noise. I like sound. I like clean sound. Whether I want to distort it or make it gritty or whatever later, I want to be able to make that decision, but I want all my sources to be as clean as possible. I have this drum module that I really like the sound of, but it's very noisy. So I'm going to show you how to turn this into this. So if I'm using a traditional gate, what happens is that I can filter out the noise, but it's very audible. And even if I make the release time longer, I can hear the noise coming in and out. And that is because there's a lot of energy in the lows, not so much in the highs. What happens with the traditional gate is that it looks at the overall energy and gates the signal accordingly. Now, the kick has a lot of length. At the same time, the highs are very short. It's just that front hit of the kick. So if we were able to gate the lows, the mids, and the highs at different rates or different sensitivities, we will be looking at a much more efficient way of gating the signal. And this is how noise reduction works. I'm not going to get into that. I'm going to do a separate video just about noise reduction. So what I have here is a 4-band processor. Each band is sensitive only to its portion of the frequency range, which means it will allow the low frequencies to close a lot slower than the high frequencies. And that sounds much more natural. Let's hear it on other sounds. And without. Let's go step by step through this process and how I achieve this. I'm going to reset everything. Now, this is a multiband compressor, really. It's meant to be compressing the different frequency bands according to the energy it detects on each band. But I'm going to use it in a completely different way. The first thing I'm going to do is lower all the gains by 18 dB. So now everything is quieter, including the noise. So the noise is pretty much gone. And now I'm going to give it positive range, which means that whenever it detects energy, it will bring the level up by up to 18 dB, which means that effectively, once we have energy in each band, we will be bypassing the process. But in order to do that, I need to lower the threshold. So I'm going to lower it to the point where the noise is starting to activate the processor. So something like that. It opens only when there's energy in each band. So that's pretty good already, but we do have some attack time, which we want to be 0 because we want it to act immediately. And also we have the release time. The release time is already calculated according to the behavior, the natural behavior of each band. So low frequencies are usually slower, high frequencies are usually quicker. I want to set all the bands to the same value, which will now be very short. And that could be good enough. But you may hear that we're losing some of the tail of the snare. Let's find something with more reverb. something like that. And let's try to follow the natural kind of decay of the reverb to make sure we're not losing any information. So if I make the release longer across all the bands, we're still not getting the desired result. And that's because we have auto-release control. When I set it to manual, I'm forcing all the bands' release time to be the same. Now, it will still follow the energy in each band. And as we know, the energy is very short in the high frequencies anyway. But maybe we can give it a more natural behavior by using soft knee. So let's hear hard knee. It just kind of goes down as soon as the signal disappeared. Whereas here, it will just glide smoothly. Now you can see that we're not reducing as much, so I can maybe make the threshold less sensitive, because we find on the attacks it's just a release that we want to behave more kind of dynamically across the different bands. So that sounds pretty good. Again, that's with it bypassed. I think I'm losing a little bit of the reverb tail. I'm not too concerned about that, but I can make the release longer. So let's make sure. Yeah, so now everything is there. But now we can go individually and look at the two mid bands, make them shorter. Bypass. I think it's worth what we're losing because it's so noisy otherwise. Let's try with a different sound. Okay, so now here I have a much shorter sample and less reverb. So I can make the whole thing shorter. Now the thing to look at is the cymbals, because the cymbal wants a little bit of release time to make sure that everything is included. So I can sculpt the way it behaves according to what I want to play. Now, I don't like this shimmer at all, which means I need to make the mids less sensitive. So I'm going to give it, let's say, -54. Now it's pretty smooth. Now, if I were recording this drum module, what I would probably do is record each element separately, because in any case, I would want control over the different instruments while mixing. So I will set the release time for the kick. It's a little bit sensitive here. Something like that. Record that in. Give the snare more release time in the highs, so it's more natural. Look at the toms, etc. At the moment, I'm just using the stereo out, but since I have multiple outputs on that drum module, I can set a different C4 for each set of outputs and fine-tune it and get the right preset for every drum part. Let's go through some more sounds. And I think we found something that kind of is pretty consistent. I don't mind the mids being longer because you're more sensitive to the noise in the highs and sometimes in the lows because there's a lot of hum here as well. Let's bypass. I am losing some, but we have to compromise. Otherwise, what I can do, let's try a different method. Let's go back to our normal gate. And what I can do is bring the floor up to -18. So we're still filtering out a lot of the noise. And I can set it to expander. Let's bring the noise floor down a little bit. Can bring the threshold up. So we're effectively reducing about 18 dB or so. Bring the attack to the shortest possible time. It's very effective, but I'm hearing the noise coming in and out. Whereas here, I'm not really hearing that there's a noise gate involved. Now I can go back to a more hard knee. So it will follow the natural decay of the drums. It will gate more, it will be more tight. But to be honest, I'm getting the effective part of the reverb, the stuff I want. In a mix, I probably don't want to hear that tail anyway. I'm getting the important stuff, and I'm going to copy this because I like this preset, but I can make the release longer. And I can make the highs more sensitive. And the mids as well. So now it's pretty natural. Okay, I'm going to save these presets. And of course, this method can work on other instruments, guitars, bass. It's just a matter of fine-tuning the different parameters to make sure they follow each band's energy in a smooth way, which is as transparent as possible. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, you know what to do, and I will see you on the next one.